Hello, and happiest of days to each of you folks. Today we're taking a review at Jonathan Starks' The Weeping Place. It's in the Chronicles of Magnamund. It was published last year in 2024, and that sort of thing. It's a game book set in the world of Magnamund, as you can tell from the title. And that sort of thing. I just picked up another couple. I'm going to be knocking those out too here in the next few days. So this took me about it should have taken me 2 days. I did 3. But the first 2 days were about 2 hours each, and then I spent 2 hours aside for the third day on Saturday yesterday. But it took me like 20 minutes, and if I put that 20 minutes into it, so it's barely more than 4 hours. It's close to like 4 hours and 15 or 20 minutes, right? That sort of a thing. So it was a very, very faster read for me, and I did lots of stuff. I did lots of side tunnels and that sort of thing. So basically, you have the same basic rules here that you have in the Kai series, and that sort of thing. Your character, you're a sage of Veretta, like Gwenian, who's a major character in the Chronicles in the Kai series, who will actually be a major side character too. And here, so you're one of his people. You are at something called the Tower of the Mind in southern Summerland, the good guy kingdom, and right after the collapse of the Dark Lords and that sort of thing. And so you are an apprentice to somebody who has set up a sanctuary for people after they have served, for soldiers that have survived the war but have been damaged mentally. Right, that's where the Tower of the Mind comes from. Because of all the crying and that sort of thing that happens there, it's been nicknamed the Weeping Place, which is where the tower comes from. All right, so you have left and that sort of thing, and now you have been called back by your mentor and the person who hired you about some stuff that's happening. His name is Theodorus, and that sort of thing. So you're going to go check it out. All right. And he sort of so you still have a combat skill that you're going to roll a d10 against. Although here you're not rolling it; it's just going to be a 14 unless you choose one of 3 professions that you can choose on like the first or second page, and that sort of thing. And one of those duelists, I think it is, will give you a +2 combat skill, and then you'll get it set to 16. Also, your dirts is set pretty low at 22. It's not actually rolled, and that sort of thing. All right, and then instead of 8 battle backpack slots, you'll only have 4 satchel slots, unless you take Explorer, and then you'll have 2, but only 6. And then you actually won't have stuff like weapon slots, or you do have special items. There's a lot of them too. But that's it. Again, you're going to roll a d10 to resolve things. You're also going to roll. You also have 3 skills rather than Magna ones that everybody has. You all start at -2, but you'll be able to invest a certain number of when you go and roll those skills, and that sort of a thing. Are things like intuition, investigation, that sort of thing. So you can add to those and such, but you'll have to roll. So you also sometimes have to make skill rolls too. And then you're given something called stress. And you can use a stress point, you start with 10, to re-roll a die in the skills, or to re-roll something like, or you'll have a weapon. You can choose 1 of 3 weapons, and that sort of thing. And 2 of those weapons will let you use a stress bar to do something better for that combat. One will let you add +5 or 6 or something like that to your combat skill for that weapon, that combat, or you can do what I got, and that was to get a counter strike in case somebody tries to do damage to you. Hit them for 5 damage instead. And if they die before they hit you, then we'll like it. I thought that was what I was going to use, but because of stress, it was starting to get used very, very quickly. Also, they didn't tell you this in the rules, but you will have stress rolls. And I started having those. And then you're going to naturally have stress rolls. And that sort of a thing. And then you can start with 4 things. And some of the things you can start with or get in the adventure are things that will either protect your stress, like there's something you can get that will let you reroll stress, or they can really let you reroll a roll or something like that instead of a stress. You want to get those. Also, all the healing stuff. I actually chose Explore, gave me 6 extra points to invest rather than stuff like that. So I brought everything to a 0 of my 3 skills. Just as a heads up. I thought that was pretty good, strong stuff. Alright, but there you are. And so that's basically the basic rules and so forth of playing in the Weeping Place. It feels a little bit like a haunted house, if you will, style of concept. I like it. And that sort of thing by moving to a mental asylum, right? The first one in Summerland. rather than a traditional sort of thing. It uses a lot of that sort of haunted house motif of all the bad things that have been happening here, and that sort of thing. And I think it uses it well to a lot of great stuff. All right, but there you are. So that is The Weeping Place in the Chronicles of Magnamund series, the first one. I got the next two too. They're also by different people too. I don't think they say the same with the same characters from one to the next, so you can definitely and that sort of thing. But just from the start, I do like this. I like going back to it, but it's a little small, right? As you can tell, more typically these hard books that are more like 350 pages and that sort of thing. This is only 250 sections. I'm sorry, 350 sections. Sorry, not pages. Right, and that sort of a thing. And I feel like this is a little smaller, just as a heads up. And so but it's the same price as a regular one. So I'm going to be giving this probably, I'm reducing a point for that. The ending is a little fine and so forth. It's fine and that sort of a thing. And good stuff happens, but I don't think it's the best in the world. And there's a lot of descriptions of things in one of the rooms you're going to find. And that sort of a thing, and then once you get into it, you will not use any of that. So there's a lot of backstory that you're just going to find, and it doesn't actually get used. Now that's fine if you were going to have this like a longer novel or something like that, but a faster game book that you finish very, very quickly. Right, and that sort of thing. I don't feel like it. I did all of it because again, it was my first run through, and I probably won't be coming back to this at all because I'm doing it for this channel, right? And that sort of a thing, right? And so I like to go through and really sort of explore, do all the side options and that sort of thing. So I did all the backgrounds that I could. Also, just as a heads up, write down and keep track of all the names of people that you come across for that background stuff. All right, and so there you are. So that is the Chronicles of Magnamund, The Weeping Place. So I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 for you folks for those reasons. But I hope you'll enjoy it too. Have you read it? If so, let me know what you thought about it. I'd be happy to engage with it further in the comments. But just keep it spoiler free like I did. Alrighty, so there you are. As a reminder, I'm not a trained critic. I haven't studied English as a degree, right? None of that stuff, right? So that means that your opinion will be just as valid as mine is, right? I'm just a fan like you are. Actually, I have Joe Devers' game book series in my own appendix, and that sort of thing that I have, so you can check it out, dude. Alrighty, but there you are. So you're right, and so I'm definitely more interested in what your take is than mine, right? For those reasons. Alrighty, so there you are. So check that out and such. And then as a reminder, I do 3 of these reviews of older things a week and that sort of thing. And all of this is published last year, but you get the idea. I try to typically do older things and that sort of stuff, as well as books in this case, or game books, or novels, or novellas, or short stories, or poems, or stuff like that too. Prose poems too. So you can check that stuff out if you like it. Typically in these 3 genres, fantasy in this one. This one definitely has some horror elements to it too. I think it does a good job with that. All right, and then science fiction too. All right, so check those out if you like those things. All right, I also do 4 reviews a week of video games, serials on Serial Saturday, older modules and war games and role-playing games on Monday, that sort of thing too. So check them out too. And if those 7 older things that I do reviews of every week sound like your cup of tea, then great. Welcome to the channel and have a seat. I think you'll enjoy yourself quite a bit here. Take your shoes off while you're here. And while you're relaxing, why not do all the YouTube stuff, like hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button with your friends, and hit the bell icon too to be notified of my 7 videos a week that I do. To check them out too for all your good stuff. Alrighty, and there you are. As you can tell from the title of the channel and those 7 older things too, they're all older typically. It's the passion of this channel. It's also where the name comes from too. The worst thing about new books. That's a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that he kept us from reading the old stuff, right? And there's definitely some older stuff we might have forgotten about. And the passion for the new, right? And the new books in this case, the new movies, the new video games, right? And those sorts of things. We sort of will obsess with what's new, right? Rather than the good stuff that has influenced this, right, and that sort of thing. And you know, Joe Dever, heavily influential on modern stuff like gamebooks and fantasy and that sort of stuff. He's still beloved like a lot of people do. He was one of the best selling gamebook authors, so go back to his world is definitely fun stuff for me. So that's one of the reasons in the passion of the channel too. Alrighty, so there you are. If you made it to the end, I just want to thank you so very, very much for just taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate that so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.